Hello YouTubers, welcome to lesson number 1 of Moho animation. In this lesson, you will learn the basic interface and where to find the most important tools. Main parts of the Moho interface. We do have like a menu bar. This is where we have file, edit, draw, bound, animation, script, view, window, and help. With file, we use it most of the time. So for example, when you open Moho, and you will find preloaded animation already from here. So you don't want to use that, you need to go to file and click new. Okay, also in file, for example, if you have already made your animation, so you want to open the recent animation, you can go open recent and you click, your previous animation will be here. Okay, now again in file, we can use it to open. For example, someone has sent you a file and you have never opened it, so you can just go to open here and look for Moho file and then click open. Again, you can use to save or save as your animation. Now we do have gather media, so we use gather media. It's not every time we use this, but we use gather media. So for example, like if you want to save this Moho animation and use it to different computer which has also Moho, or if you want to share the file online, you can use gather media, because if you just save it normal, if you try to open this file to another computer, anything like PNG will not be saved. But if you use gather media and click, so for example, I'm just gonna do YTS here, it's gonna save, and then if I go to my download, you can see here that it gather everything including the image. In that situation, if I want to share this online, I can do that. I can compress it, zip it, and share it online. Okay, now also in file we do have a project setting. If it is the first time using Moho, you don't need to do that, but if you want to set your project, so for example like HD, 4K and other things, you can go and click here, and here this is where you are setting NTSC, web, and anything. I use 4K because this is what we use at the moment. Okay, I don't need to change anything from here, and you don't need it. I mean, it is just for me to explain to you what it is in there. Okay, you don't, when you animate, you don't need any of these. Okay, now import. If you use import, so for example you want to import a file from different program like Adobe or any other program, you can use this import here. I don't use it because I have got the tools called SVG, which I will explain it later. But if you click import, you can import anything from different program, 3D, audio, and other things. We don't need it. Okay, right. Now we do have you don't need that, I mean when you animate you don't need it. Now we do have preview animation here. If you want to preview your animation before you save it, you can go and click preview animation. It will try to gather all the information, and then this is the final animation you will be able to see. It's not in a good quality, but when you export this, it's going to be in a good quality. And then we do have export. This is where you click to export your animation. All your setting like 4K and other things are here. Where do you want to export it? Usually it's going to be where you save your Moho file for example desktop, or anywhere you can change it from here. Okay, and then we do have Moho exporter. I don't use this, and export to other, for example like SVG and other things, we don't use it. So mostly you will use file to click new workspace, and to save your animation. If you want to share or you want to use your Moho into different computer, you can go to gather media, but mostly it is new, save as, and export animation. Okay, here it is undo, redo. These are the normal things which you will these are the normal things which I'm sure that you know how to use them. And then we do have draw. Okay, so we can insert text here if we want. So for example, Moho, and you can see that anything we type from there, it's gonna insert there, and these are like just Microsoft Word setting. Okay, trace image, I don't think most of the people are using this trace image. So for example, I'm going to hide this first. Now I don't want to draw everything from the beginning. I just want to use a PNG image from somewhere else. So instead of me using, for example, to go around and start going around and mess about, I can use trace image. So go to draw and trace image. Once you trace, you can see this is the final. So for example, I can go a little bit down here, I can go something like this. You can trace color, photo edge, alpha, anything. So for this tutorial, just do like a black and white like this and click OK. So the original image is still here, but it is hidden. You can unhide it, and this is the final. So this is the traced image. What we can do is go here and lasso around and delete what we don't need. So it simplifies your animation. So in that situation, instead of us drawing anything, we do have the image here or face of the character. Of course, you still need to do something because it depends how you trace the image. For example, you can still go here and do this and use the bucket here to draw the face inside and draw outside. In that situation, you have a complete character, you have the hairs, and also you have this. And then if you want, you are going to delete this one, and this is the character has been drawn for us. We did not need to do anything from the beginning. I mean, we just draw this character by using the traced image. Now next thing, it is up to you. How do you want your character to be? For example, here I will explain this tool, but I'm just trying to show you that we can draw a character without using any skills. Okay, so you can see here the face of the characters here. Anything's in here, you can just go around, make sure just around here and delete. Okay, perfect. Not a lot of people are using it, but you can see that we have already drawn a character from here. Okay, now I don't use these triangular 2D mesh, but if you are more advanced, you can use those tools. Okay, and then we do have bone. We will talk about bone in the next lesson. And we do have animation. We don't use these much. Just don't worry. I mean, you see a lot of things here and you're confused, like how I'm gonna know all this stuff. No, we don't use those. I mean, you'll be surprised that you use only tools like a draw tools and bones. That's all what you're going to use. We also have like a script. If you are intermediate level or advanced level, you can use script. So script can be downloaded from Moho website. So for example, like here are the popular script. You can click, and then you're looking for script, a lot of script like focus layers, clone bone dynamic, add points, any script you want, you download it, and then you are going to install it to Moho. But I don't use script. The only script I'm using, it is SVG. Even this is a script, if you see from the left here, but I'm not using any of those scripts. Okay, for example, like a particles energy cloud, someone has already done it for us. So you can see here, these are the script already been done for us. Okay, now view, again, you're not gonna use these like zoom in, zoom out, because you can use a keyboard. I've never used this. The only things I have used from here, it is enable grid. So when you want to draw something perfect, for example, if you see there are a lot of grids here, and maybe you want to add bone and you want every bone to be the same size, then you can use script. You can use this. Or maybe you want to draw something. So I want to draw something to be perfect within these. You see, I can draw and I can get nice, okay, don't worry about that. I can get nice box or nice anything, okay? And then we do have windows. Again, we do not use this unless you are advanced, like you want to blend morph and other things. Layer switch, if your Moho has not started with this interface on the right here, you can go there. We do have a library. Sometimes a lot of people save the stuff here. You can, if you want, you can go there and get anything you want and you can insert it into Moho. Okay, I don't use because I create my own. Okay, and again we do have all these tools you see from here. Anything ticked from here means that it goes into the interface. Okay, docking, character wizard, also they are preloaded character. You can go there just like a library, but you don't use it. And help, it is just to get help. Okay, so what do we use in Moho? We use these tools. Okay, this is tool to select a bone. You can see from here, like you can select a bone from here. This is add bone tools. You can add bone, and this is to rotate, especially when you are using smart bone, but you don't need to use that. You can use manipulate to rotate the bone. Okay, but some people are using this and they say that it is much better if you use bone transformation tools. Okay, this is bone parenting. When we start learning about bone, we will learn about bone parenting. It is very important to learn about bone parenting. So for example, I'm gonna delete all these bones first. Okay, the next bone is gonna be parented to this bone. Any bone I draw, the next one is going to be parented. For example, if I want to draw another hand, I will have to click this one because I need my bone to be parented here. So if I go to bone parent, you can see this has been parented, the next one has been parented to this. It's just to link the bone. If these links are wrong, so for example, like this part of the hands here is not parented here and it is parented here, so when you manipulate, you see the upper hand, arm, it's alone. But then if you move this, everything is moving. That's why you need to parent this to this. Now if we move the bone, you can see everything is moving. Okay, we have like a fill which is not highlighted here because we don't have any shape, but if we start creating shape, you can see everything is going to be highlighted. These are the tools we will be using most of the time. We do have like other part which is layer transformation. This is how you move your layers around. Okay, we do have this select shape because we don't have a shape now. We need to create a shape. We click and then we create a shape, and now this is where we can change color of the shape. Once we click this and we click the shape, so for example like this, you cannot change the color. Whatever you do, the color is gonna stay the same. However, if you use this and click there, you can change the color of the shape. This is to create a shape. This is what you are going to change the color inside here. It is a point bucket, and this is delete shape. Okay, this you can, okay, so for example, I'm just gonna create 1, 2, 3 here, and then click here to create a shape. So I can use this line width to create something like this, and then this one, it is hide edge, especially when you are doing, for example, like a hand. I'm gonna do a quick hand here. create a shape, and then I'm going to create another shape here. Okay, so I want to hide the lines, this line here I want to hide, because now here like a hand we can see that there are lines, so I can use this to hide those lines. And our final animation will not show the lines. You can see from here that there's no lines because we have used this tool to hide the lines. Okay, stroke exposure works kind of I mean something like the same tools like line, hide the line. Okay, we will learn about that. And then we do have a layer where we can select everything, and then we do have set origin. This is important. For example, if you want to create like a door, okay, let's say this is a door, okay, and I want this door to open, to go here and open, something like this. Okay, so I'm gonna set origin here, and then when I animate that, I can use this tool, rotate layer, to see I'm gonna open that door. But if this origin, it is somewhere here, and if I'm gonna use this to rotate door, you see how it goes. Okay, you don't need share layer, but you need this layer selector. If there are many layers, so for example there's something else here, maybe there's an image, okay, maybe there's a lot of things, so sometimes it's difficult to go from here to start selecting layer. Maybe you have thousands of layers, so you can use this layer selector just to click and select the layer, and you can see everything is changing from this side here. Okay, now we do have cameras. Camera is just in editing. So for example, I've got this image here. Okay, I've selected this. Now I need to zoom this camera to bring this image left and right. You don't need this, but I recently started using it. You can see if I click here, it's like I'm zooming. If I do here, I tilt the image. It depends what you are creating, but most of the time we don't use it. And for example, you are in this situation and you don't know what you have done, just click each camera and click reset. Go to each camera and reset, and you will go back to where you are. Okay, so this is all about the interface, draw and layer tools and camera. And then in this side, anything you animate, make sure that you are in frame. And then in this side we do have style and action. So style is just to change the style, for example color. And then we do have action when we do create our animation. So for example, let me go to this one. I'm gonna go to this one. We do have already animation here. So with action, I'm saving the action. So for example, now if I click walk, mean that I don't need to repeat this action. I just create it once. The action always will be there. Jump, you see, always this action will be there. So next time when I animate, I really don't need to start creating this character walking. Okay, also we do use actions for smart bone. We will talk about bone later. So for example, if I want this to rotate in different direction, I mean in the way I want it, I can create new action, upper arms in a smart bone, and then I can edit the way I want. Okay, and then we do have a layer panel here. This is every layer we create. So for example, you see there's upper arms. Anything you draw here, it goes here, so you know that what you are dealing with. So for example, now I know the head is here, I know pelvis is here, thigh is here, and other things. Okay, so this is all about the Moho interface. And next we will go to the second lesson. It is about drawing a character, and then we'll talk about bones. So thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.